from the Partnership for the Public Good, or PPG, which unites 276 community organizations working to build a better Buffalo. Delighted to be joining you every Tuesday at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live and 7 p.m. on Power 96.5 FM and Mix 1080 AM. One of our partners is Neighbors and Friends, advocating for environmental justice. We'll be joined today by Virginia Golden from Neighbors and Friends to talk about their work fighting for environmental justice on Buffalo's East Side. Don't forget to follow PPG on Facebook and Twitter, and of course you can always get great information on our website, ppgbuffalo.org. The Public Good is sponsored in part by Univera Healthcare, real people who really care. You can get video from this show on our Facebook page, and you can find videos from previous week's shows on our YouTube channel. A few quick announcements before we get started. Our friends at Locust Street Arts are having their 58th birthday celebration. That will be Saturday, June 23rd from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 138 Locust Street. Locust Street Arts has been offering free art classes to children and adults for many years at their building in the Fruit Belt neighborhood. So come on out and show your support. June 23rd, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can look at the Locust Street Art Facebook event page for more information on that. Buffalo Transit Riders United is having their June meeting to talk about their 2050 plan and what's most needed in our transit system from a transit rider's perspective. That will be June 27th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at 2529 Delaware Avenue. And this weekend, of course, is the Juneteenth Parade and Festival. We at PPG will be marching with the Crossroads Collective, a group working at the intersection of climate change, racial, and economic justice. You can join our group at Genesee and Bailey Saturday at 10 a.m. if you want to march with the Crossroads Collective. We'll also have another PPG partner there, the Campaign for Alternatives for Isolated Confinement, and they will have their replica of a solitary confinement cell at the Juneteenth celebration. Anyone can visit that as well. All right, with that, I want to welcome Virginia Golden from Neighbors and Friends advocating for environmental justice to the show. Thanks for being here, Virginia. So tell us a little bit about your group. How did you get started? What are you responding to in terms of your neighborhood?
Okay, we started back in about 5 years ago. The Buffalo News came out with an article saying that hazardous sites, talking about hazardous sites in Western New York.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed that 1001 East Delavan was on it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been living there. I've been a homeowner there for 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know we was a hazardous site.
Mm.
And they said it's harmful to with pets and human beings.
Mm.
And a few of our neighbors got together and friends, and that was a Sunday morning paper.
Mm.
Ever since then, we've been on the battlefield trying to clean up this PC toxic
Yeah.
at 1001 East Sullivan.
So 1001 East Sullivan, tell us what that site is, what was going on there that created toxic chemicals, and what goes on there now.
It's an old GM plant.
Mm-hmm.
They told GM back in 1979 to cease working with certain types of toxic chemicals over there. And GM continued doing what they have to do. It was a major employee,
Mm-hmm.
and it's before we had strong environmental laws,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody dropped the ball. Then by 1992, GM had a spill over there, and they had to contact DEC.
Mm-hmm.
And when DEC was contacted, they told them they had to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been in this whirlwind for the last, 40 years trying to get this stuff cleaned up.
Yeah.
And
What are some of the chemicals that we're talking about at the old GM plant?
PCB, it's massive, a lot of them over there.
A lot of different chemicals.
It's many, and we had the testers. They test not just for PCB, they test for various toxins over there.
So the University of Buffalo was just out helping you with some testing in the neighborhood. Tell us about that and what the results were.
What happened is, we had spent 5 years trying to get making the community aware
Mm-hmm.
of what's going wrong over there. And it was time for us to step up our game in the community. We wanted to know, have this toxic has spread it to our property line.
Mm-hmm.
And our group got together and we started calling people, and somehow or another somebody referred us to UB Chemistry Department,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Joseph Gardella and
Mhm.
Tammy Malilla.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in, they told us they're going to give us 10 free samples. They're going to walk us through it.
Mhm.
They're going to make us feel comfortable for putting up our properties at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We, and they gave us everything we need. During they came in July of 2017, and by January 2018, they had completed everything.
Okay, so they tested 12 properties near 1001 East Delavan,
Yes.
and they were looking to see had some of the chemicals from that old GM plant migrated sort of across property lines
Mhm.
into people's backyards.
Yes.
And they
front
found
yard, front and back.
front yards as well.
Back, you know.
And what did they find?
They found a certain amount of PCB. It's at a level that won't require removal. But
Mm.
you have small children, you have pets and everything in the backyard. The DEC says it's fine, it's not going to harm us.
Mm.
But this is what they've been telling us for the last 4 decades.
Mm.
And somewhere down the line, somebody dropped the ball, because now the Erie County Health Department commissioner is saying that zip code, not just from 1001, is the sickest zip code in Western New York.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to think about, if it's not harmful, why are we the sickest zip code?
Mm-hmm.
And then, we have a high rate of Superfund. I think we have 2 Superfund cleanups in zip code 15.
Mm-hmm.
Several brownfields, and you're unable to count.
Yeah.
There are tanks and spills over there.
So it's not just 1001 East Delavan that you're concerned with, although that's the one that's right by your house.
And the reason why we're concerned with 1001 East Delavan, in heavy rains and fast snow runoff, this stuff goes into the Buffalo sewer system. It goes into the Shijaka Creek. Now, what we found last year, we found that back at behind the plant, there was a drain that was shooting up water almost 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, it looked like a fountain back there.
Uh-huh.
And it was a heavy rainfall. When we had that heavy rainfall, and we told the city, one of our partners, she works with the city, and she does the community goodwill tour, trying to make sure that the community stays clean. But and she was the one who worked directly with the city and had that. We think it's fixed at this point. No one else had reported it.
Yeah.
So now we contain that. So where's all this poison going to?
So you make an important point that it's obviously of immediate concern to you because you live right near it, and it's in your backyards and your front yards, but that when it rains, it's going into all of our backyards and front yards. Essentially, it's going into
Western New York,
into the waterways,
the
water that we drink. People fish, of course, in the lakes and the rivers. So it's affecting not just your immediate neighborhood, but really the whole region to have these chemicals that kind of spread out.
And we have so many isolated drain systems around that plant that no one know if they still having fountains and water still coming out the ground, during heavy rainfalls.
Right.
And this runs down into the neighborhood. People driving their cars, kids walking in the streets. All this stuff is tracked back in our community. And it's sad because we have young children. We have one of the highest rate for young children. We have the highest rate of unborn miscarriage, infant mortality, stillbirths, children with asthma, and all kind of problems. We can no longer tolerate this. We can no longer sit and let this happen to our babies anymore. And if in Erie County Health Department Commissioner reported that if you live in zip code 15, you have a chance from 270% to 300% getting some type of chronic disease or terminally ill disease or be sick. We have the highest rate of hospitalization in Western New York. Now this is going to be a burden on the people, everyone suffer, because if you have a serious accident, if there is a major need for hospitalization, the people in zip code 15 and around there is already in the beds. So what you think will happen to everyone else? We really were exhausting the medical healthcare system.
Right.
We're draining it.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is just clean up this mess. And it's been going on for 4 decades.
Yeah.
And no one won't help us. And the people are getting sicker and sicker over in that area.
So what kind of response have you got from the current owner of the site, and then we'll talk also about your response from the state or other government levels. So how about from the current owner? What's their response been?
Well, you know, we haven't had any response from him.
Mm-hmm.
The response, he has a problem connecting with the neighbors. He like to connect with the political and the elitists of the east side.
Mm-hmm.
He never sent out a letter. He never wanted to sit down and talk. If he come, he wants to talk through them.
Mm-hmm.
And we elected those people. We elected the politician. We give money to our leaders, pay the leaders through grants, and they be more on his side than on ours.
Mm-hmm.
They trying to justify why he haven't cleaned up. Now, he bought this plant in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
He only invested in his own inside. If you look at that plant, the tower still have American Axle name on it.
Mm.
10 years later after ownership. If you look at the building, and this is community relationship. We're not asking him to sit down and have fun and have a party. We want him to respect us by respecting the property and the exterior and the curb appeal.
Mm-hmm.
We are not concerned, and none of our business, who paid for cleaning it up. That's not our concern. We just want you to make sure that your property is up to par. And when we look out our door and out our windows, we see a property that is well maintained. We don't want to see the paint falling off, the blistering off your walls, your blinds broken and falling off the windows, and the windows cracked. He just fixed one part. He got everybody convinced that once you go through that door, everything is okay. I don't know what's inside, but he needs to really connect with the people living around there. Oh, he didn't tell us, oh, you come over here and see. No, you clean up your building. We're not here to come see what you're doing. We want you to respect us by respecting what we see, the curb appeal. We have no interest going in that building. We had no interest going when General Motors had it. We had no interest going in and when American Axle had it. They kept that building pristine. It's in spotless condition. That's all we want.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
How about the chemicals?
Chemicals, that's we have no control of that. That's between our politicians and our elected officials and our community leaders. Mm-hmm. If they don't push the governor, the county executive, and the mayor, nothing's going to get done.
But you'd like them cleaned up, I imagine.
Oh yes, we demanded it be cleaned up. It's going to get cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as our politicians, our community leaders, and our business people it's strange. They having parties over there. Our community leaders and our politicians and our spiritual leaders, they having events in this Class 2 contaminated site.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a possible chance now. Mm-hmm. You see the relationship between the owner and our politicians, our elected officials, and our spiritual leaders. Hey, we on our own over there.
What's the next step with the testing? So UB helped and tested 12 properties. They found some level of 10 properties.
And 8 had PCBs.
And 8 had PCBs on them. Mm-hmm. What comes next? Is there more testing needed?
Yes, we have to have. We're looking for funding now. Mm-hmm. We need to find funding to go 6 inches deep and probably deeper. They really take the chemists to sit there and tell you what is going on. But they need funding to go deeper now.
Okay.
We have to have funding. And then, funding is tight now.
Yeah. So you're looking for like a grant or some other kind of funding to help pay for more testing?
Yes.
and that would tell you more about what chemicals are there
And
and kind of how they're getting there?
Yeah, how they're getting there.
How they're getting there. I assume that there's just some natural movement underneath the ground, that things move from one place to another when it rains or snow melts or that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are next steps for your group? You want to get more testing? How about in terms of kind of your advocacy to get the cleanup done? How are you going to go about that?
Well, what we're trying to do now, we're seeking out volunteers. Okay, we need more volunteers. We need more volunteers to really get involved. And this is what we one thing, like we said, we have a lot of sick people in zip code 15, especially around that 1001 East Delavan. And sometimes you call and talk, and when we go out there doing community outreach with them, they say, just pray for me. You know, we know, just pray for me. And you get drained sooner or later. You see their hurt and the pain. The only crime they committed is living and owning a home in that Delavan Grider Community Center. And now where they live at, it's like a place where it's going to kill them. You know, the toxic is really working on them, you know. And hey, we're trying to get volunteers, and one of the things that people want to volunteer, we ask them to call 645-4168, leave their number, and we will get back to them and put them on various committees. We need outreach workers. We need to continue educating people. You know, we need people, a prayer committee. We need people to really start, take their expertise, and we need to start tracking our elected officials, our community leaders, and I mean tracking them, getting freedom of information, pulling their records. If they're not doing their job, you know, we're paying them a salary. We're giving them grants. Those grants are taxpayers' money. And the taxpayers are the 30,000 people living within a mile radius of that plant. And they deserve to be represented by the people who we put in that office. And you know, hey, if we got to ask for them to work with us. If they can't work with us, then we will out them. We will find a way to out them. You're not going to sit there and think you're going to do absolutely nothing and let us disappear in poor health and rob us of our generation wealth, rob our children of a good education, because if you're sick and that child is unable to focus, then that child will not be able to excel in school. And that the parents and the grandparents are no longer around to help and give guidance. There's a whole hole in their life. Who's going to be there to support them? Who's going to be there to give them their love when they get to be young adults and give them the guidance? So we destroying generations because we just don't want to do our jobs. And this is to the elected officials. We don't warn them. And if they think they're going to sit there for another and be elected and do not do anything for the people in that area, that day is coming to an end. Because we ask for volunteers to come out and help us work. We cannot make the governor, the mayor, or the county executive do anything, but we can make the people who we elected and hold them accountable. And they're going to hold the governor, they're going to hold the mayor, and the county executive accountable for pushing the issue and working closely with DEC to clean this mess up. All they have to do, and they have the money. DEC told us back in May of 2017 that they put this in the super fund to clean up. They ready to do it because the owner did not agree to all the things. They went and got the approval to do it. DEC have made one move to start cleaning this stuff up because the governor, the mayor, and the county executive have not pushed them. They have written off these taxpayers, the 30,000 taxpayers that live around that contaminated site, and they don't have to do anything. And you know, we're not going to sit quietly and let them rob us of our life, just rob us of our life.
So you're looking for volunteers to help in the effort. Can you share that phone number again that folks should call if they're interested in volunteering? 645-4168. We need volunteers to be part of the prayer committee.
We need volunteers to do missionary work, to reach out and go from door to door, because we got 30,000 people living in that area. We need volunteers to monitor our elected officials, our spiritual leaders, our community leaders. If they think they're going to sit there and get grant money on our back of us, on our blood, and live a good life and forget about us, well, I think the people in Buffalo needs to come out and say, no, this is not going to happen. This has been going on for 40 years, 4 decades.
Have you found some ally groups in this
yes.
effort?
Yes, we have.
Who's stepping up to help you with this?
Yes, we have. We have.
Yeah.
You brought that team in the chemistry department.
Great.
We have a community group. The person, none like you, she is taking on the curb appeal, environmental.
Miss Triggs?
Miss Triggs, oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Another PPG partner.
Yeah, she's taking that on, and she's out there fighting. You know, it's a disgrace. Behind that behind the plant, Shajakawa, between East Ferry, they have turned that into a trash collection. They dump everything, sofas, everything up and down the street. Now this is right behind the plant.
Okay.
Now things are changing back there also, because business, they got some good business. They small business, but they really have a lot of respect for them. For especially in the last year, they came in, they set up their business, and you don't see any dumping. You barely see any more dumping on Colorado. People over on Leslie Street, they got out there and they confronted the people about dumping. They told them, we're not going to tolerate it. It just takes people to stand up. But you know,
what are those new businesses that you were mentioning?
They own Colorado. Between Shajakawa and East Ferry.
And they've been good. They've been helping clean up the neighborhood.
Oh, there's no dumping there. There's no dumping there.
Yeah.
And the business on Leslie Street, the neighbors took that over, and they told them, they explained to them, you're not going to dump your stuff here.
Yeah.
You see, it's just all you got to do is stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up to them.
Are you noticing any impact from all the work going on in Northland, in the Northland corridor,
well,
all that development?
You know what? We cannot understand how you can invest $70 million. That's part of the mile radius in an area that is the sickest zip code, and you have no interest in the air quality, you have no interest in the soil. All you interested in put that $70 million. They said, well, we putting $70 million and things gonna make better. We put $1 billion in the Buffalo school system, and we barely see a dent in in improvement in our children's education. 20 years ago, we put $1 billion in that school system. And it's going to be the same thing. There's not going to be changes. It's the way of the rich boys stuffing their pockets, and when it's all over, 10 years from now, we can bet that building will be half occupied, and they're going to be sitting there saying the same old thing. Well, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and they get incompetent people to run everything they do. And definitely, the person who's going to be running that 70 million project, he was the councilman over there in Delavan Grider for 12 years, I think. He was totally in denial that it was a problem. So you're going to send him back as the CEO of this $70 million project. So what choice? So what do you, let's fire you before it starts.
Are you starting to see, with that development going on and some of the other things going on in Buffalo, are you starting to see changes in the neighborhood? Are you getting new people moving in, or is it kind of steady, old people moving out? I'm curious about kind of the...
Old people moving out and old people dying out. Yes, and you know, we don't welcome gentrification. You know, other areas saying we don't want gentrification. Let me say this: gentrification come. There's Delavan Grider has the highest percent of long-term homeowners in Western New York. The housing stock over there is in good to excellent. Those old homes are built steady. It's really a stable community. It's really a stable community over there. People have to get down there and see. I don't understand the mentality of destroying 30,000 people who worked hard all their lives, and then you're going to ignore them and won't clean up this toxic mess.
Mm-hmm.
So gentrification, when it come in, we're going to see a change.
Mm-hmm.
Because those corporations that bring those people in is not going to tolerate them putting their employees in bad health.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they have dehumanized the 30,000 residents, taxpayers, homeowners. And this is how they get away with not helping us, not forcing cleaning up this toxic mess at 1001 East Delavan.
Mm-hmm.
See, they don't see us as human beings anymore. And when you can do that, you can do anything you want to people. And we have leaders who turn a blind eye, and they all meet among themselves. You know, they never have community meetings. They never bring the community and say, this is happening, we're going to do this and do this. It's just been a handful of people been out there for 5 years. They never, majority, and they never had a major meeting and said, we're going to talk about this toxic at 1001 East Delavan. They too busy cozying up to the owners, having events and having parties over there. So.
Yeah. So what comes next for you all? Is this summer going to be an important time for you? With the weather nice, you can be out there organizing, knocking on doors, or how do you go about it?
No, I don't think we're going to be organizing out there organizing it. We all seniors. We just want some peace and quiet. You know, we probably be out working with the university, doing what we can at the best we can. The days of walking and organizing, going up and down, we can't do that anymore. Everyone on our group is in these late 60s and 70s. It's
so maybe that's where the volunteers come in. Maybe some volunteers can help with that.
That's why we want volunteers. We have to have volunteers. Yeah. We have to have volunteers who have a heart and see the 30,000 people who living around that plat as human beings, as taxpayers and homeowners. If you're coming in just to play games and get your name in the print, please stay home. We don't need it. We don't need that. We had too many people have come in and just want to play games, just want to be part of a movement, and they get what they want and move on. Yeah. We've been exploited and abused for 40 years. We don't need no more exploiters coming in and abusing us over and over again.
All right. Well, we are running short of time. Let's share that phone number one more time for folks who do want to get involved with the neighbors and friends advocating for environmental justice.
Okay, it's 645-4168.
All right. Well, Virginia, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it, and good luck with all the work that you're doing out there. Next week on The Public Good, we'll be talking with the Center for Employment Opportunities about finding employment for people who have been formerly incarcerated. It's The Public Good every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Power 96.5 FM and Mix 1080 AM, and Facebook Live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. All right. Thanks so much, Virginia.
Oh, thank you for inviting us. Okay. Thank you.